Greetings. This video is going to be talking about the Notice to Association form, which is what we're currently looking at right now. So this form is used in real estate transactions, mainly when you are the listing agent or the listing representative and you're working with a seller, the owners, and you're going to be selling or renting the property. And you use this form to basically get information from the association, whether it's the homeowners association or condominium association. Now you'll use this form because sometimes when you're working with the owner, they don't know the answers to these questions that you may need to have in your listing or need to have for the buyer. Basically, answers to these questions could be like the monthly assessments or the assessments in general about the association. How much are they? What do they cost? Are they monthly, quarterly, annually? Information about, pet policies. Are there pet restrictions, rental restrictions, vehicle restrictions, other things about maybe the insurance on the property or recreational facilities, what's included in the monthly assessments, if there's any special assessments, like has there been any roof repairs. All of these questions sometimes the owner may not have the answers to, and you need to find out the answers to these questions, and the association is not going to release some of this information or these documents unless it's to the owner. But you could use this form to let the association know that you're a state licensee and you have been authorized by the owner to collect this information on their behalf. So this form authorizes you to collect this information so that the association will work with you directly. So let's get straight into it. Start talking about this form, start filling it out, and start answering some questions about this form and elaborating further as we go through this this form here. So the part that you fill out as the licensee is really just from this part in blue that's highlighted here. You only fill out this part. Below it, it's for the association to fill out. But we'll talk about some of these questions down here. It's only a 2-page document and it's not too difficult. Anyways, the first thing that you want to do is you want to put the date here, and then the next part is the association or condo association name. We'll just have a placeholder here. Good old Happy Condos Company. We'll just put there for just to not leave it blank. So you put the name of the association here. The next part is who is this to, the association representative or the management company, whichever one, maybe both. I usually mark both just so it gets to whoever. And you can put their name and phone number, fax if they have it. The next part is the Authorization Section. So you could read this here. You are hereby advised that effective, this date, the following real estate licensee is working with us, to sell or rent the property located at, and we just have a random placeholder property here, but you would put the property address here. And then you put your brokerage and your information here. So you can see your name, your brokerage name, and you can put your brokerage address. And usually I put, if you're a listing representative, you're going to be doing the communicating. So put your email there and your phone number so that you could be contacted and be the point of contact for this form because you're the listing representative for the property. So fairly simple. You're just putting your information and your brokerage information here, and then the address of the property, dating it. So that's all that you need to fill out. The last part is I usually always check these two here. You're going to you're looking for copies of the association documents, the master association documents, and copies, as it says here, the annual budget, the most current year-end financial report. So you're going to want these particular boxes checked. Sometimes if you're going to be arranging for maintenance, repairs, painting, you can click this box. Usually when you're filling out this form, you're trying to get answers to some questions, but you could also use this form if you want authorization to coordinate these specific things for the owner. And you could click the other box if you're looking for something else, maybe some other type of documentation, in which case you would indicate it here in the other section. But you're usually pretty good with these first two boxes here. But if there's more documents that you need that is not listed here, click the other box and fill it out. The last part, have the owners sign, date, and print their name or names if there's multiple owners, and you're pretty much good there as far as what you need to fill out for this form. That's the only part that you fill out. The next section of this form is down here for the association to fill out. This is the questions that is asked on this form. We could go over a few of these questions, but the association will be the ones filling this out. And it asks most of the important questions. There's a couple of other important questions that I'll discuss in a minute, but just to go through this, it's asking, basically everything that you see here. Pet restrictions, are pets allowed? Are tenants allowed to have pets? Does the association have the right of the first refusal? Is there an application required for new buyers in the community? How much is the application fee? Are there vehicle restrictions? What type of parking is offered? Rental restrictions. Are rentals allowed? Is it only annual rentals, semi-annual, or vacation rentals allowed, and so forth? Is it a 55 and over community? So is there age restriction or 62 and over? RV boat storage, docks available? Assessments, how much are the assessments? Are they paid monthly, quarterly, annually? Recreational lease and so forth? Are there pending assessments, special assessments? Are all the assessments current? These are very good questions that the association will have to answer, and they'll fill out this part of the form. Questions about the recreational facilities. So there's a couple of other questions that I'm going to mention here in this video. I don't have it written down on the video that you're seeing here, so I recommend if you want to pause this video, maybe go back, take notes of the specific part of the video and write this down, because these are some really important questions that I recommend you ask and you should know about the association. So the first question that I would ask the association I feel is very important is questions about the insurance for the association. Does the assessments cover insurance, such as roof insurance if there's a hurricane or some type of leak? Also, does the insurance cover anything else of the structure, such as the walls, the balconies, elevator, staircase, common areas? Does the insurance cover any of these things? So that's the first question that I'd recommend that you add into this specific questionnaire sheet that's not available here with this list of questions. It's questions about the insurance. That's number one. And you want to find out what is the insurance policy, what does the insurance cover, such as the roof and things that I just mentioned. The second question, which is pretty important that I'd recommend you ask, is reserves. Does the assessments, is any percentage of the assessments, does it go toward a reserve fund? Now, the reason you're asking this is because many lenders don't lend and don't provide mortgages for a property that's a condo that doesn't have a certain amount of reserve funds, mainly with condos. When it comes to single family homes, it's usually different. But it's always good to ask this question regardless, is reserve funds. So the second question is related to reserve funds. And the question you want to ask is how much, what percentage out of the monthly assessments or the assessments is going toward a reserve fund, and how much is in the reserve fund. So usually lenders want to see a certain percentage is being taken out of the assessments every time the assessments are collected, and then this amount collected is going toward a reserve fund, and how much is in that reserve fund. So that's pretty important, especially for condominiums. If the Condo Association doesn't collect assessments and has $0 in the reserve fund and just doesn't have any reserves, it's going to be very difficult to obtain financing and get a mortgage for that condominium. And in my professional opinion, I don't really recommend a condominium association that doesn't have a reserve fund or have anything in reserves or collect any reserves, but that's just my professional opinion. Someone may feel otherwise. I'm sure there's plenty of owners in condo associations that don't collect assessments, and for whatever the reason is, they're okay with that, and so be it. In my professional opinion, definitely want to see the association collecting some type of reserves from the assessments and putting it into a reserve fund. So that's the second question. What percentage out of the assessments is going toward reserves, and how much is in that reserve fund? It's a very important concern that many individuals don't ask. So number one was the insurance. Number two is related to the reserve fund. Now there's many other questions that you could ask that's not listed on this sheet here, and you'll have to just collect that information as you go, or you could get it from the association documents as you've requested here. Usually those documents are a lot of pages and you have to go through it all, and you just have to know what type of questions you're looking to ask. Some of those questions may include what's included in the assessments, such as sometimes the assessments toward the association can include utilities, such as water can be included in the assessments, so the owner never has to pay a water utility bill. It's already included in the assessments. Basic cable or internet can be included in the assessments. You could ask that type of question. Questions about the common areas. Is the landscaping taken care of? Is there a pool that's for the community, and is it taken care of through the assessments, and what is taken care of through it? Is there a gym, tennis courts? Questions like this, which are pretty important, but not on this sheet here. Just asking questions about the recreational facility and what is offered and what is covered. And there could be several other questions. I'm sure I could sit here for the next 45 minutes to an hour thinking of all these little questions that could and will be important that you would like to know and like to display on your listing, or let the buyers know that there's tennis courts available and covered in the assessments, or there's a racquetball court, a volleyball court, there's a gym available that has this type of equipment, or there's a spa that's available. All these different types of questions that basically you'd have to ask separately, such as the other information area down here. You have to fill it out there, or what I would do is create a separate addendum and have the list of questions on there and let the association answer those questions, whatever those questions may be. But the two most important questions that I could think of that aren't on this form, that come off the top of my head, that I always ask and I think is very important, is number one, the insurance, and number two, the reserve funds. And of course the few other minor things that I just mentioned about the utilities and the recreational benefits that the community offers. So there's a lot of other important things. You could leave in the comments if there's a question that you could think of that you would like to ask, and I'll definitely respond to you and let you know that's a good question, or yes, that's something that you could add in there as far as a good questionnaire. But this is basically how you fill out this form. Most of it's all done up here. The rest of it, like I said, is for the association to fill out, and you could add a separate addendum for additional questions that you may have. Hopefully this video is helpful and this form is helpful to you. And we'll see you in the next video. If you think of anything else, feel free to reach out.